want to guess what I liked about this string? Hey guys, welcome to Sweet Spot. Today we're talking about the Ashaway Dynamite 18 Soft. The reason I am interested in this string is because this is my string of choice in my squash racket as well, which is the sport that I have the most experience with. Now, this string is just the tennis equivalent of the string in my squash racket, and I figure what better way to start this string journey than to start with a string that I know very well. Now, I started this up in my Bolt 98 Lite V1 at 55 pounds in the mains and crosses, and it has worn quite well. Now, this is a string which I believe is very much like a multi-filament string, but it has on top of the multi-filament a coating, a secondary layer of sorts that is very rough and textured. And I know from playing squash that textured strings grabs onto my squash ball very, very well, and I can get quite a bit of spin on the ball with that string. Just based on my experience with Solinco Hyper G and what the string looked like, my expectation was that it was going to perform from a spin and grabbing the ball point of view somewhere in between a true round, smooth polyester to something that's very sharp edged like Hyper G. And that's largely true. The string definitely grabbed the ball, but it was on a few shots that I really noticed it. Volleys, slices, and serves, it was very, very obvious. Forehand topspin shots were fine, but they just didn't have that ease of spin that you naturally get with a shaped four-sided poly like Solinco Hyper G. If you read the package of the string, what the string tends to advertise is good tension maintenance with soft feel. And I did find that to be true. For a multi-filament, I really didn't find that this string lost tension very much. Performance was quite consistent throughout my playtest. The string also didn't really have much of a break-in. I did find it played better 20 to 30 minutes in to my first session, but on average, I would say it's a very comfortable, soft playing string that performs exactly like it advertises. One thing to note is that Ashaway recommends using 10 to 15% less tension than your regular tension, which I did not do and handily ignored. For the pure reason that when I was stringing this string, I found it to be very, very stretchy, to the point where I was quite concerned that it was going to be unwieldy. So instead of going at my regular 50 pounds, I ended up stringing at 55, which is the highest recommended tension on the string. And I found the performance to be very, very nice, even at that tension. I do feel that the string deserves a second try with what they had recommended. So instead of 50-pound string tension, I would go for something along the lines of 44 or 43. I did take a video of how much the string stretched while stringing, so here's that clip for you. So I just wanted to quickly show you guys just how stretchy this string really is. So I've got my machine, and this thing is at the very end of what it can be. And then when I do stretch the string, like I have to pull it back so much before this pin actually pops out, which means I've applied the tension of 55 pounds in this case. So this string is very, very stretchy. Normally when I string my Solinco Hyper G, it tends to go maybe this much before the pin pops out. So the fact that it's moved this entire distance just means that this string is very, very stretchy and very, very, very soft. One thing that I did not particularly like about this string is the smell of the string. It's a bit faded now since when I first strung it, but the string smells like a chemical plant. It's actually not nice. The best way I can describe it is a worse version of lead paint. You know that smell that comes off when you freshly painted something? It was so bad to the point that I basically zipped up my bracket bag and left it in the garage so I could have those smells out of my house. I'm not sure if this is a one-off thing, maybe my package just happened to be that way, but I have another set of an Ashaway string similar to this one, which I'm going to open up and try in a few weeks from now to see if this is a recurring theme. But I might be mindful that this string is going to off-gas some pretty nasty odors if you happen to try it out. So, how did the string feel? Well, it felt good. It was soft, plush, comfortable, but yet firm. But I think the firmness came from my string tension of 55 pounds. But it was firm without the harshness of what I've come to know from Solinco Hyper-G, a polyester string. And I think the best way to describe this is with an analogy. Give me a moment. Now, this is my couch. It's a very nice couch, nothing wrong with it, I love it. But if you notice, there's something a bit different about this than a regular couch. It's actually a platform couch, which means that all these cushions are resting on a solid piece of plywood. Now, what this couch does is that it gives a limit to the plushness that you or I would experience if we were to sit on this couch. Once you do sit on these cushions, you do feel that there's something quite firm underneath, and that's obviously this platform that is giving you that sensation. Now, this is in contrast to what I call a traditional couch, which is something, in my mind, is when you sit into, you completely sink. Now, the traditional couch is what the Ashaway Dynamite Soft would feel like, which is in contrast to what Solinco Hyper-G feels like, which is similar to this couch in the sense that it is soft and you do feel a little plush, it's springy, you do get nice deep pocketing, but there's a limit. If you hit the ball hard enough, you do feel this platform, this limit, and that's where I believe most of the harshness comes from. Personally, in a couch form, I love this kind of platform, harsh feeling to it, where I don't completely sink down. But from a tennis string, I'm not so sure. I much prefer the feeling of the Ashaway string. Now, this plushness that I'm describing came in handy on 3 shots: the serve, volleys, and slices. So these are shots that are hit on either extreme ends of the hardness scale, in the sense that these are shots you either need very fine touch for, or you hit extremely hard in the case of serves. So in my opinion, if your game is based on serving, volleying, and slicing a lot, then this is really something you should check out. For me, it really did not make enough of a difference on my ground strokes for me to want to prefer this string over Solinco Hyper-G if I had a very baseline type of game, which I don't. I'm more of an all-court kind of player. I think I may have gotten better ball pocketing if I had lowered the tension. So this is something I'm going to try, and I would encourage you to also try if you happen to try this string. Now, luckily for me, I have this string, which is just a thicker gauge of the Dynamite Soft. So I'm going to give this a try, but at this point in time, I am going to follow the recommended string tension. So guys, try this out. It's not a bad string, minus the off-gassing that comes off of it. It's really worth the $10 or so that you get this packet of strings for. I find it really does give you the best of both worlds from a polyester or multi-filament side, in the sense that this is a multi-filament string, but that textured coating really does help grab the ball on slices, volleys, and you get this really nice pocketing from your serving motion, especially on flat serves. So give it. I also wanted to make mention of a video that I saw on My Tennis HQ, a channel that I watch regularly run by Karu. It's really nice if you're looking for tennis tips, but he mentioned about his switch to playing with a gut hybrid. And because that string is softer and more powerful, he had to trust his shots more, in the sense that a softer string really rewards you when you take a full cut at it and fully swing through the ball and trust yourself that you know how to swing the ball and that it's going to go where you want it to go. And I found that to be true with Ashaway too. Initially, the softer response put me off. I was being a bit tepid in how I hit the ball, but when I trusted myself and hit the way my body told me to hit it instinctually, I found that I got better results than I did with Solinco Hyper-G. So I think for me, if I had to decide between Solinco Hyper T, which is my regular string of choice, and this Ashaway, I would still go with the Ashaway for the improved benefits on slice, serving, and volleying, which is something I love to do in my game. Okay, I think this is all I have to say. See you next week.
Oh! Are you kidding me? That was the worst, that was a good serve too. That was the best serve I've ever had. And we got that on replay, so. I did.